which has been the more winning side so far. So they have side selection here up against Bro, and they have selected the blue side. What are the bans going to look like? The insta-Gwent ban.
Yeah, Chiyu has been having an incredible debut. I actually think his debut has been better than Lucid's. Because Lucid, when he debuted, was as good as he was, also had a lot of moments that made you question his decision-making by a pretty high level, because he would just go into enemy jungle and die.
Yeah.
But Chiyu has legitimately been one of the best parts of this roster. If you go back to, you know, that crazy play he had on Bessa against Humble Life, ended up turning the series off the back of that, and he will be granted a B1 Rumble right here. Makes sense. Gwent's the one thing that feels like is on the same level. Jace is still open and Bessa is still open, but Rumble does feel like he is very hard to actually deal with in a way where a stray equalizer can't still ruin your day.
Yeah, Rumble just is that good. He doesn't really lose any lanes, very hard at least. You know, when the Kalista was banned on blue, they had to ban Varus. Instant Aurora Skarner lock-ins here from the professionals.
We might see this Aurora get flexed. You know, that's not something that I think we're really expecting, but we did see it in the last game. Most likely, though, it's going to go to Closer. Closer has been the best performing member on this team by a large margin. We've already talked good about Humbug. I actually think hype, my expectations were also a lot higher. I think he's been fine, but really, I think in Challengers he was very consistent, as DK really are just going down the list of, can we pick everyone, the champions that are either the best in the meta or the best for our players. Is Lucid, the one guy that did actually make Neferi look good, did get nerfed pretty substantially, and it isn't a Skarner as well. So we'll see how this is going to go. This would be confirmation that it is indeed a top lane Aurora, and that Closer is picking up a melee mid laner. And we know this guy, there's a reason why he was hyped up, was for champions like this. What a swift draft.
They are speedrunning this.
As if you're wondering, that's Noodle Blanc. It's just a different icon. You're fine, and Showmaker obviously.
I think it really fits into her new lore.
I love it. I think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes a lot more sense. Obviously, it looks like what she looked like in the video as well. Cinematic, I think, is the better way to say that.
I mean, it was a video.
It was, but the specific type of video that it was a cinematic.
Don't need to get bogged down in specifics, fellas. You're right.
Yeah. The first series was all about, you know...
I hope we don't have to
narrative devices and stuff.
Delve into those depths again. So Ryze also taken away. You're most likely looking towards an AP mid laner, but you don't really have to with the Rumble. Rumble being solo AP is still going to feel great. So there is some flex potential here. And Showmaker has been known to just kind of pick stuff. Kind of wondering what he wants to look towards to try and shut down this Yone, as the Poppy actually gonna be picked up or used as a banner. I wouldn't have minded if they went for it instead. Barrels Alistar, classic for a reason. Also makes the Rel hard. Its pick is probably gonna be Nautilus here for Palu. What is Showmaker playing? It'll just be like Ari. Yeah, I kind of felt it coming. I don't think it's necessarily matchup dependent, but it's a Showmaker classic. The 2v2 is incredibly strong, and this comp is gonna have to run the 2v2 mid to early, because I don't think they can kill Skarner as we get later into the game.
No, not really. You know, they have other tools for that later on. It is Elise.
Oh, Palu.
Okay.
I don't love it. I can see the vision, right? You're playing into Alistar, who you want to try and bully the early weak laning phase. And you'll be able to generate pressure, but with a Kai'Sa that isn't the most impressive laner, I think it falls low. I also think for the comp, it just feels a lot worse. Because if you pick a Nautilus here, I think it really brings the comp together. You have a very easy, guaranteed way to set up picks on specific targets. You're also playing into Ezreal.
Yeah.
Of all the AD carries, I feel like, obviously the matchup in the Kai'Sa is rough, but he's one of the most slippery champions for good reason. And Palu's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting here. And we'll see whether that's going to be enough. I do think that the DK comp is very clearly a used by X amount of time in-game.
Yeah.
See if they hit that.
It also kind of feels like they went down the list of very strong champions that were left Whereas on the side of Bro, I feel like their comp has a bit more of an identity. Obviously, there is an identity for DK as well, but for Bro, especially with how fast they were picking as well, they just really had a...
Was that Barrel in 4 wards? That's
Yes.
an Atlas banner that I've ever seen one.
The LoL master. There was
The
also
Guru? Yeah.
the Bro win syndrome. Somebody was stuck in bed with that one, so hopefully they will be cleared with a Bro win. We'll see if it happens here in game number 1. DK on blue, Bro on red.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, off we go to the races. Game number 1.
What
D+
races?
Kia. The D+ versus Bro race. First
but
to 2.
Are we?
We're racing to the victory.
Okay, but in what manner?
Erase the past.
Okay, but what is it? Is it animals? Like, is it? There's a dog in the game. That'll make sense. Is it cars? Like, what type of?
This is League of Legends Chronicler. This game.
So I guess it's a race to the Nexus.
Yeah. It's not cars, unfortunately. I know you do like your cars.
Yeah, I'm a big car guy.
Yeah.
Notoriously.
I'm surprised you don't have a bicycle.
I've actually considered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I do, I even did it like 2 days ago, is I rent a bike, because you can rent bikes and then I cycle to the Han River. It's really nice. It's very chill.
Yeah. That's one of the best things to do, actually, in Seoul.
Particularly in spring. It's
Yeah.
so, because we all know summer is coming.
Spring or fall, you have like 3 weeks each.
Yeah.
If we're being
I think
generous.
Spring's a little better. Fall in Korea is definitely not real.
Fall, yeah. You got like maybe a weekend. And then
If you
it's
time it well.
0 degrees. Yeah. By the way, Kaisa on a 7-game winning streak. We'll see if Bro can continue with the winning
We've
streak.
been here before. This was like, what was it, 2023 when Aiming got like 9 games at Kaisa before people were like, maybe, like obviously he played it extremely well, but also maybe the champion is a problem.
Yeah. She's
And-
really good. She's just too versatile,
Well, it's,
I think.
So there's that. There's the versatility. There's the build diversity. There's also the fact that I feel like most of us, me included, were expecting her to fall off a little bit when lane swaps got removed, and that just hasn't been the case at all.
Well, teams
because
aren't indexing hard enough into shutting down lane, I think.
well, it's also because every single game we're banning Varus, Ashe, Kalista.
Yeah.
So like, that means there isn't that much left unless you really want to go all in with something like a Caitlyn.
Caitlyn Lux.
Yeah.
It's like,
But yeah, who actually can play that? Well, I know Barrow would try, but I don't.
well, Gumacaria.
Well, obviously,
That's
yeah.
about it, right? But even T1 haven't indexed that hard into doing it. I mean, they've picked Caitlyn, but
With the Kate Bard,
yeah. But even that is like,
it's not the same level.
It's not the same.
I'm with you.
so Kais is just like, yeah, cool story. And also we're gonna swap to the top lane where there's a different dynamic and everybody's hovering around our lane and you can't really put on pressure because we're gonna fight over the grubs anyway. The jungler could be in the brush, you know. It doesn't feel like she just gets punished that hard in this meta, so she just gets a free laning phase and gets to do whatever she wants, including go whatever build she wants and fit perfectly into any composition. And she's also just generally really good. So yeah, I think Kaisa in a very good spot right now.
You've always been generally very on point with identifying OP stuff before it really hits the critical threshold of why is this champion still open.
Yeah.
Because we do have...
There was that Sylas season
Yeah.
where it was like, why why are you letting them have Sylas? Yeah.
Interesting there from Lusa. Kind of, because he had top lane prio, kind of figured he was going to go for the top lane Krabby, but instead just going for the bottom one. Shield on his first base. Trying not to use... Woo!
I think if Showmaker Flash Charm QW, he dies. With Electrocute and like an auto weaved in. But the charm was very close, so didn't opt to go for the flash.
He's also level 5 already. I feel like he definitely could have gotten away with it. If it's like level 2 or 3, feels a lot riskier because obviously with Ahri, want to really have your 6. Before that, you are pretty easy to take down. I say easy to take down. let's be real, current Ari with the Rod of Ages build is not easy to take down. Is I wouldn't even say deceptively tanky. I think you're just tanky.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're just tanky. And you get to go electrocute too. You don't even have to go grasp. Just extremely tanky. And now you get more mana. Which Ari can
I know
sometimes
that
struggle.
I saw the patch preview that they're going to specifically neuter the build, which I think is valid, because if you have this much mobility and build-in damage, you really shouldn't also be unkillable. We've had this exact issue in so many different iterations. Remember Echo?
Yeah.
That's my favorite example.
I feel like mid-lane items have gone through many iterations of that.
Remember when everyone built jungle items on mid laners?
Yeah.
Was it Spirit of the Elder Lizard? I'm pretty sure.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was like Athene's Holy Grail back in the day.
Yeah.
It just felt like there would be an item that dominated all the time, and then in succession, a lot of mid items got nerfed, you know? And
Poor mid laners, man.
yeah, really struggling, us mid laners, you know? We just really haven't had a great time here.
I've been Apollo actually gonna get the wave in here, so aiming needs to catch it. The downside for Hambak is that Lucid obviously is a lot stronger. We also see Lucid do a good amount of poke, or try and nade as much poke as he can just with his Q. Needs to be careful though, because Elise is on the way. Might have a fight on our hands here shortly as
Yeah.
the second Q.
Thinking about it is DK. Hambak gets the first one. They're going to flash on top of Hype, who does get caught and ignited, but not going to be stunned up. Does get rooted a bit. Over the wall, though, does go Showmaker, and that'll be an easy pickup of first blood for him. No flash, no barrier for Hype. And so he was just easy pickings. Nice setup there from Beryl, and takedown by Showmaker.
Struggles continue for Hype. Unfortunately, I already highlighted. Feel like hasn't really been able to showcase the consistency he did in Challengers, and there just walks up, gets blown up unceremoniously, just taken down very quickly. Nicely done there by Beryl, though. His Alistair, particularly when Beryl is playing well, has always been a champion that truly kind of crazy. But there, that was very telegraphed, right? Not out of fog. He just walked up, flashed on you, took you down. Attempt from Hambak to try and maybe salvage it. Didn't really end up working out. And Big Dare was also that Showmaker prior on the roam. Had his ultimate available, so was able to just get on top. And it was him that picked up the kill. And I don't think that DK have been nearly as binary as they were last year, where it was two modes, right? Lucid Showmaker, aiming, please kill all of them. Those were the only two options they had. That's not really the case. He doesn't lose these.
Yeah, he just walked on in and stole candy from a baby. It's like, thanks, bro.
If Owner wasn't there, I feel like Lucid would be the #1 smite secure that we have. I feel like he's gotten so many of these. But Owner still exists, so it's a bit hard to take that title.
Yeah. Lucid's pretty good. Maybe if he continues with the consistency, he can challenge for that spot. You know, he's one of the young up-and-comers, it does feel like. But yeah, he's going to hit another one. And up against Hambak, who should be also another one of those junglers. You were talking about their matchup that we saw many times in Challenger League. He should be quick with his smites at his age. But yeah, not able to get it this time.
At his age. Yeah, as I was saying, we'll see. Hambak, obviously, with the Skarner, mostly trying to play for Teamfight Impact, so still has opportunities to make his mark on the game. But yeah, DK have been a lot more versatile, but I don't think any DK fan is ever going to feel bad when Showmaker is getting fed. The most one-sided series that we saw of them was the Gen G series, where Chovy just dunked on Showmaker and then the whole team looked completely invisible.
Yeah.
I think outside of that, we've seen DK were a team that was actually able to take down Hanwha in the regular part of LCK Cup, and were even in the best of 5 against Hanwha, actually got very, very close to taking them down. And then I think it was because of the ending against Gen G that their tournament was still not remembered very favorably, which is fair.
Yeah.
That was a beatdown. That was not even remotely close.
It was rough. They're not going to want to remember that either, as Hambak is on a ward. And he's Skarner up level 7. Meanwhile, Yone was nerfed on this patch. Does it matter? I think it's definitely going to be something that we're looking at as these games come along. As Lucid goes in, does a bunch of damage, and is just running down. We got a TP as well. Just TPing back to lane. Nothing actually brewing here. It is a bro and brew, though, so we're always brewing something, I guess.
Giant water bottle.
Yeah. I actually switched to just regular water.
Yeah.
I was drinking the barley tea earlier, but yeah, I've swapped over.
I actually, because we were talking earlier about Bro and Brew, even before, because we were so excited about this matchup.
Absolutely.
I talked about a coffee brewer, and I showed it to Valdez.
Yeah.
And you know, normally it's like
it is actually cool.
It is actually cool.
Yeah.
It looks like a water lily. Sparrow has his ult. Will he be forced to use it?
He doesn't have flash, but yeah, Hambak can't really get in range. He gets charmed mid-dash through the wall. And so
with Alistair, it's also, in this case, Showmaker was there, so I think it was fine. It's also one of those things where you're like, I don't want to waste it, but if I use it too late, it also doesn't really do anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's fine here, though, as we see Lucid Eclipse hit already. So one item spike for both Showmaker and Lucid very early on, but the Elise always going to be a threat. We'll see, though, Lucid has a level lead as well. Really strong here in this instance, and the equalizer is available. Breon, this is looking a bit scary.
yeah, and they're just going to go in on Apollo. It's just a full 100-0. No hope for the Elise. And Closer now alone in a 2v1. Barrel tanking up the damage from Morgan, which isn't all that much. He might go down, and that'll be the first kill for Bro. But what about the rest of them? It's just the Nefiri hunting them down. He does get stunned into the wall, but Lucid doesn't care about that. A lot of flashes on the follow. Lucid continuing to chase them down, and he will pick up yet another one. He's now 2-0. And so is Showmaker as this mid-jungle duo continues to feast.
Just a barrel diff. Starts up the fight, goes on to Paulo. Showmaker is there with the follow-up. Even the Q from Lucid immediately ready. Lucid also gets the reset on his ult there. And then Hambak, the ult onto solo on the barrel there when he's already ulted, just doesn't really get anything done. Doesn't hit the mark. And Morgan not able to layer the damage there as well. And Paulo, this is now 2 players on Bro that have been just caught off guard by Barrel walking up menacingly and then comboing them.
I mean, they're just not respecting the Alistair.
No.
Like, even Paulo, he's on Elise. I think he was also in Spider form.
So you feel, you're like,
and he's like, I'm fine.
He was not.
But he's got flash. The Alistair combo is very fast. That's why it's very flashy as well. Anybody can get caught off by it. Rookies like Hype. Not so rookies like Paulo. Better players as well. Veterans, it doesn't matter. It's Alistair, right? Gotta respect it.
The complete, what was it, the carry out a clinic on Alistair against Gen G as well.
Yeah.
That's against Gen G. That team's pretty good.
Beryl, 2019. He was the guy.
Barrel's had a lot of years where he was. There's also been different guys, you know, with Barrel.
That was.
I don't feel like either of us the guy to talk about it, though.
Yeah, that's true.
There's
Atlas,
only one.
Atlas is probably paying attention, you know. Ox, a little bit less so. We had double Chemtech Soul in the last series, by the way.
To talk about Lucid.
And by the way, we have another Chemtech Soul. So
no, I
now
know.
that's just pure fact that we know that Ox is not paying attention. But that's fine. It's his day off. But,
I just knew what he was doing.
oh, a little flash on in. A bit of damage on a Showmaker who has his ult and just decides not to use it because he knows he's not dead. And he's going to use it aggressively. Instead, he picks up a couple of damages, I guess is what I meant to say. In goes Lucid, and they're just going to try to bait closer into this one. He's not even going to hit that either. And now, Hambak is like, maybe I can help. I don't know, guys. And he's going to end up doing nothing. Here comes the Mega Cone engage. Barrel is here once again. Hard to respect that. And in fact, Hype doesn't really have to. Doesn't even need to flash this time.
Still, though, barrier node gone. And, oh, Paulo. And he has to try and have an impact. He's playing Elise. Again, I want to go back. And we could have just picked Nautilus, which I think would have been a lot better. But instead, we went for Elise. It's this Ari build. Like, it's so hard to actually... He's level 5!
Oh no.
Okay.
He doesn't scan the ward, and now he's gonna spend a bunch more time not getting XP. At least he's backing. But
Well, that's the sad back, Veldes. That's
Yeah.
worse. And they know as well. Like they have perfect information.
all right, surely this time, no flash, no ult. We got Impale here for Hambach. Just press the buttons and the guy dies. Okay, there you go. They did it. They finally took out Showmaker, and even Closer got the kill.
Are you getting tilted by proxy because of Showmaker living in the previous?
Yeah,
play?
yeah.
We've all been there in solo queue. We're like, oh,
It's hard not
I'm
to.
trying. I really have this play has got to work, and then
Yeah.
that happens, and you're like, no,
It's over.
It's over. And it's
At
not.
15.
I do truly believe that the Brion composition, outside of the Elise, will scale quite nicely into the late game, and will be fine. But getting to the late game is still a tough ask. They're down 2 dragons as well as 2,000 gold.
Oh, nice dodge by Xiu.
Would have been in big trouble otherwise.
He's going for the kill. He's going in. He's like, you want to take me down? I'm going to do half your health bar and damage.
He is crazy. We do know this. We've seen him go in on a lot of other occasions.
I have heard that crazy is his game. Yes, that is true.
That's a whole nother thing. Apollo's still level 5.
No.
I-
Oh, and he just based too. He's not even like in a lane anywhere. I mean, it's not like Elise has a level 6 power spike. I mean, I guess, but
no,
not actually.
Champions do need level.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
Where's the thing? Oh, that's the.
here's
That's
the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, really Paulo's the main issue. Like, the difference in impact between our supports has been the biggest thing. In terms of play. Like, in terms of where the champions are and who's really fed, I think Lucid is probably the biggest issue that Bro have to deal with. This is a Neferi that actually does damage and does things.
But I want to reiterate, Neferi on the last patch was incredibly broken. And the only reason why she didn't look broken was because we had players that were quite bad at playing her specifically.
Yeah.
As we'll see, can he clear the wave? Doesn't have his ult, so he's just going to have to sack. But not the end of the world.
I'm surprised that Hambach didn't even try. just kind of waited and saw if he was going to walk up.
Like maybe that, or maybe worried that they were going to keep on pushing if he showed. Because
Yeah.
I don't think they knew about the ward in the brush there. And then also Dragon is coming up, so maybe wanted to just go and get a base in there. But yeah, as I was saying, I think that Neferi was mega busted in the last patch, is still a great champion right now. If you actually skirmish and snowball, and for DK that makes perfect sense, because they're, outside of T1, our most forward-playing team that we have. There were times where it was BNK, but I still really don't know what BNK's deal is. This LCK split, we'll see if they lean into that again, because that has been, they were the other team. You know,
they are
like,
fearless.
you had like 3 levels of we're going in and we're going crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they try.
This might be the game-deciding fight.
Hey, Paulo hit level 6.
Yeah. So Lucid's level 11.
I just, you know.
No, I'm glad we're keeping track.
At least he got the.
Can we get Closer almost as TP available?
Oh, Hambach hide on bush.
Can't give over the soul point. They got to be ready for barrels engage. Can't be caught off guard by this again. Hambach trying to zone. Closer is looking for a TP angle. Showmaker's coming over as well. Closer, his is off cooldown in just a second. There it is.
Yeah. Here he goes. 5v5.
She was on a ward.
Gentleman's agreement. We're just going to fight straight up here. No flanks as Beryl goes in onto the Skarner, though, but they do get the Drake. More importantly, the damage from the Equalizer is pretty nice. Does a good job of zoning the rest of the team as well and pushing them away from Beryl and keeping him alive.
Restraint? That's not my DK. What are they doing?
Why didn't they send it?
Why didn't they send? Well, Beryl was really low, and there was definitely the better call.
Yeah.
But I am a bit shocked and mildly disappointed.
Where's my action today? Not happening. Closer still trying to take down Shiwu as they take mid tier 2.
Maybe DK heard all our slander, how we're like, oh, this team is they're so flippy, they're gonna lose.
They watched the
bro.
Pog state.
And then now they're playing a really clean game where they're like, okay, Barrow goes in, keeps the jungler out, we take the objective and we leave. Which is again a great call. I kind of wonder if Shiu, it's still a great equalizer. If he positions it a little bit further back, they might not actually be able to disengage. But with Barrow low, that is their main source of engage. Everything else is, well, I say everything, it's just charm, really.
Yeah.
Or just diving in face first, which definitely would not have worked. But the item lead now is getting even bigger, where it's a 3.5, or almost 3.5k gold lead now. Bounties are up. Palu still level 6, and they have Soul Point. So things are not coming up, bro.
They're not coming up, bro, but they're not massively behind. It's not a dunzo deal just yet. I said that in game 1 of last series as well.
I like your optimism.
And game 3, I think. So, but it's never over until the Nexus falls. DK could just start up an Otacon. How many teams have we seen just
We have a lot. And
throw
also,
an Otacon?
and DK haven't really done anything that makes you go, ah, that's DK.
Yeah.
No, this is
so we're due.
This is suspicious. We're due. I don't trust it.
We're due for a weird DK
wait.
throw.
It's Bro starting the Otacon. That's not the plan.
Will they respect the Alistair? Well, it looks like the answer is no. They're just going to stick around and fight over this one as Hambach nearly dies, and he's going to die before the Otacon as well. It does go to Bro, though, as Aurora did get it, but I don't think they're going to win this fight anyway. Zanaka comes in. That's a couple of withdrawals already. Actually, 3, as... No, I guess it was just 2. Hambach actually did die.
Denied the buff.
No, actually, it was 3.
Didn't get a lot of roses because they're on 6, which not a whole lot. As I want to, we've been memeing a lot, but I want to give credit to DK how clean this is played. Completely staying away from the ward, not walking into any of the traps there. Then Barrel again, and like part of this is I think Hambach still looking a little bit off, but also if Barrel engages on Hambach, the rest of the team on Bro needs to use the fact that the main form of initiation is just on the Skarner, right? It's not like they don't have Closer, they don't have Morgan. And I need to see Morgan, Closer, and Hype actually sync up and dive a single target. And this is where the real problem comes in. Who do you actually go on here? Because going on aiming with Sums is basically impossible. Showmaker has, I don't know what, like 3.5k health?
Yeah.
And is level 15.
Is a tank.
Oh, okay, so it's only 3k. I was exaggerating. Still though, that's a lot of health. So it's probably Lucid or Shiu, but if Shiu gets an ult off, he already is in a great spot, and Lucid has his W.
Yeah.
So it's much easier said than done.
Lucid's also got a couple of cloth armor here.
Oh, probably gonna go Death Stance next.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, they're never killing him.
So yeah, they're utilizing their aheadness to get tankier and tankier. And that's a great way to do it. You already have enough damage with the amounts they are ahead, so no reason to overdo it. Especially if they get Chemtech Soul, you're really not ever killing DK. It's just not really going to happen. But let's see what this fight looks like. Paulo, he's hit level 7.
He's also catching up. He's actually only a level and a half behind now.
Okay.
Well,
he's
actually,
accelerating.
Barrel just got away, but it's a level and a half. It's not. It's not great, but
yeah,
could be worse.
Could be worse.
It's really summing up this game state for Breon. Like
that is true.
They need to get a big pick. We need to see Hambach or Palu hit an Impale, hit a Cocoon, actually take a priority target. DK don't need to go for this Dragon, by the way, which they are very clearly aware of.
Pushing mid.
Yeah.
And nobody's here except Closer.
Oh my god, they can cancel the backs.
Are they going to just end the game?
They can cancel the backs.
Wait. Guys, your base. Okay, they're going to get the Chemtech Dragon. Yes, okay. The two Chemras, and they're pushing.
Can they back?
Morgan is trying to back. Closer gets the wave, and that'll be enough. So yeah, got a little a little spicy there for about a half a second. But it is the Chemtech Drake going over. Lucid says, no, that's actually my blue buff. Little did you know. Sambot, nice little stun, throws his ult in the wrong direction. And now Xiu is on the run. Here comes Beryl, gets a two-man knock-up, and everybody on the side of DK is just trying to get away. The charm is going to miss. As Beryl still on the chase of Hambach. So many low health bars here on DK. Aiming goes down, and so does Xiwu. Bro on the comeback. Gets 3 kills, and they're looking for the Baron.
There it is! We knew it was too clean!
Yeah.
Hambach baited them into a false sense of security. By the way, ult wouldn't have hit because Lucid has his W. Still looks very bad for Hambach, but they are able to get so much damage down. Showmaker out of the fight early, Lucid out of the fight, and that's a lot of the damage gone. And then the reason why we see Kai'Sa picked into Ezreal is that moment right there. You're able to just get on top. I don't think they can actually do this Nash. There's also the problem of the mid lane being shoved into the Nexus turret. But still.
Now, that is a thing. But they're going to get this Nash. It's going to happen. Lucid can't get in. Flashed away by Palu. And now they got empowered recalls. I mean, they could just back and defend the base. They don't even have to.
The gold's equalized. DK also did not get the Dragon because they played for the mid lane. Mid lane ended up not that big a deal.
I think I see like a little speck of a game on my hands.
No, it's there. Again, DK's calm is not the best late game. Like, there's some elements. I think Ezreal is fine. I think Neferi, honestly, is just always strong. But I would take the Bro calm 9 times out of 10. And now this Baron is going to buy them a lot of time.
Yeah.
This is kind of a lot more what I was expecting.
You know, it was the mid inhibitor as well. You're just giving extra farm over
Doesn't
to
matter
height
that much, yeah.
As well. I mean, he gets more money from the super minions. So the inhibitor will respawn at the end of this Baron power play. They don't care about it because they have the Baron. So they're just getting more money. They already got enough money to come back and equalize the gold. I mean, a difference of like 700 is nothing at 27 minutes. So anybody's game from here. And they got some standing gold on the map too. They're going to look for the top turret, the tier 1. That should be free. And they might even look at this tier 2. Showmaker does not have TP. So he's just going to stick bottom lane. And that means he's just not here for now. Backing as I speak.
Oh, it canceled his back. He's just going to keep on pushing.
Yeah, and Bro aren't fully committing to this push either. Wave is cleared. They're looking at back. They're just kind of hanging around in the jungle. And yeah, not going to overcommit for the tier 2, it looks like.
In about 1 minute and 50, we will have the next dragon come up. This is also not a... If this was Hextech Soul, I'd still very overwhelmingly favor DK. If this was Infernal Soul, same thing. But Chemtech Soul, I think as good as it is definitely not quite of the level of you get this soul and you guaranteed win the game. And Breon, the experience deficits have been mostly caught up. You know, we've been memeing Polo a lot, but I think now is what, like maybe a level behind, half a level behind, if anything.
Oh, no, Beryl. I thought I saw him at level 11. Not the case.
Yeah, still a level and a half, but Hype's up a full level now. Aiming hasn't really been able to get a biggest foothold in this game. Closer's up. Morgan's up.
Yeah.
And the gold basically even, so...
It's just totally equalized.
Yeah.
And it's really going to just come down to, as you mentioned before, like who's in a better state at this point in the game, and that's definitely Bro. Now, that doesn't mean they're definitely going to win. We have to see what these team fights are going to look like, because DK, you know, when they don't do happy gaming, are a generally very strong team fighting team. They have had good team fights already this game, whereas Bro have struggled a little bit, but they had a nice cleanup on the last one, and now they're setting up for a second Chemtech Drake.
It's early on the TP. I would have much preferred Morgan pushing the top wave and then TP over, but I think they want to ensure that they actually have prio and control of the river. They want to allow DK to regain too much control here. 3 item spikes hit for Showmaker, for aiming, Closer, and Hype as well. A lot of arm guards as well. Morgan and Xiu both hacking right now.
Absolutely packing. And now, looking for this Chemtech Drake. Will Lucid try to go for it on this Nefiri? Hughes on the flank. There's the True Shot barrage. In goes Closer. They're trying to burst him down in mid. Oh man, he is going to go down immediately. And now Hambach super low in the pit. He's going to be taken out. They do get the Dragon, but they're overwhelmingly losing this fight. And with the mid lane open, that's one of the things that will help DK end this game. Morgan just going to go golden as the rest of the team try to take him out. It looks like Lucid should be able to keep him from backing as the TPs are coming into the mid lane. Flash on over at Deacon. Oh no! Not like this! They had come back in the game, and then immediately DK just ended it.
Clean ace! 5 for 0! The goal was even, Veldas!
Not even close.
It was supposed to be the moment. And the attempt to deny and turn onto Lucid there, clearly something DK was extremely ready for. That untargetability, Lucid makes it look quite busted, which makes sense with an ability like that. DK playing around very well. The main character though of this game wasn't Lucid as much as I'm a fan of him. Not as much as Orcs, but you know. But it was Beryl, right? Beryl, who ran the early game and even in those late game team fights, just had an impeccable impact. Showmaker looking a lot less tired now that win #1 is in the pocket.
Yeah, his charms are very good. I just like the way that DK played that team fight. You can see that on the side of the bros, they knew, like the coaches can see the numbers and they're like, man, we had a good opportunity here and we just dropped the ball in this team fight. Closer went in, Unbound Soul, tried to find an angle and just died before he could ult. And that's not the value out of the Yone that you need at that point in the game. Hype, only 11k damage in 30 minutes. They realistically just had the one fight. And after that, it just wasn't enough to come back in the game. So DK up 1-0. We'll see if they can hold on to their lead. As inevitably, Bro will move on to the blue side. We'll have to see what they do select, though. See Edgar looking quite frustrated, as that was a frustrating position to be in and not to potentially come back in that game. But guys, we'll have a break and have the space. We'll be right back.
왼쪽 오로라야, 왼쪽 오로라.
나도 이렇게. 얘네 걸러왔다 바로. 야 이거 윤회 볼게 오면. 나 공한 번 쓸게. 야 윤회. 윤회. 네, 기발 한 번.
그래, 이제 이겼다.
야 오로라. 카이사 누구? 카이사.
내가 잡을게.
얘들아 탑 밑에. 났다 여기. 와우. 뭔가 어디서
베릴 알리스타. 와우.
좋은데? 잘 먹었어. 얘 필요 없어.
나 잡을게.
잡아.
네, 도망가.
보여줘 하나만 보여줘.
Going, he's just like, oh man, you know what, guys? Lord Morgan. You're like, well, you can't be serious right now, Edgar.
Oh, you know what you're doing, Veldas? You're taking Twitch chat and then turning it, like making it face rallies. When you have like a show that does like a cartoon, right? That generally treats everything as if it's a joke, and then all of a sudden, an episode, they're like, this is not funny.
Yeah.
Like, this is a really bad. That's what you're doing right now. Just let the chat spam. It's fine.
Oh, they can spam it. I mean, the chat, you know, that's their job, you know?
So what you're saying is
The coach of Bro has a different job. Well, maybe it motivates, you know? Maybe it's not so literal. And they're like, you know what? Morgan, you're doing a good job. You're great. Hambak, keep doing what you're doing. And they get they get some kind of motivation from that.
I don't think you need to backpedal. I think I think you were right. And we'll see what Edgar has been able to impart on his players. As the draft thus far, nothing too shocking. Skarner taken off the board. Neferi taken off the board. Gwen remains banned. It's like Ambessa, Azir for closer. What makes sense? Oh, is they going to prioritize an early LeBlanc? It's going to be like a Lee LeBlanc from DK. I
need a Lee LeBlanc.
Oh, God, no. Well, I do think Lucid has his card, so I'd be okay with Nidalee. If the Talia gets locked in as well, though, there's no shot. Talia, strong into Azir. Showmaker definitely plays it well and should sync up well. Although the Vi is already taken away. Something like the Zinza also works nicely as long as you have a guaranteed way to set up for the Talia knockback.
Yeah. Showmaker didn't say a whole lot. Seems like they were probably discussing the next pick, and they definitely were going to select Talia. There's the down. Crazy, I know.
Wow. Particularly because it's also something we see paired with the Azir so many times. So not too shocking. What is Hambak going to pick into this? That's a Palu pick. Let's come through. Although there is, of course, the potential that this goes towards Hambak. As mentioned, this is a combo we used to see all the time. It was particularly Chovy Peanut that loved this one back in 2023. Just would run this combo again and again and again. Very versatile, hard to lock down. What is Shiu going to pick here? Are they going to... Yeah, I actually love this. It's one of the few picks that we see consistently do well into the Ambessa. Shiu clearly is happy about it. That's a monstrous 2v2 as well, by the way. Zinzao and Renekton. And you have Renekton and Talia as well. So this top side, that's, I think, DK going to be very happy about that. And again, they opt into a more early game, but I feel like that's the identity of the team anyway. So it makes sense.
Yeah. I think it's a really good top of the table here. Now, both teams have selected that, assuming that Hambak is going to be playing the Poppy, but that's still flexible. Ashe is taken away.
Do they like ban MF? I don't like the MF, but I feel like that would be next on the priority list for a lot of teams here. There's a lot of CC and frontline already available here for aiming, and you can pick it and not be too worried about lane matchups. If this was a different team, I'd look towards something like the Jhin. I think a Jhin in this spot would also go pretty hard, but
not for aiming.
Not for aiming. Absolutely,
Please
zero shot.
Maybe Zeri. You know, that strikes me as more of a
I could see Zeri. Yeah, something that can keep its distance. Ideally, something that has a build of mobility, so that you don't have to deal. I know that MF doesn't, but pros are clearly still rating the MF very highly, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that banned away.
Still a lot of discussion about what...
Maybe Dan Zeri? Wouldn't surprise me either.
Leona.
So the barrel ban instead.
MF is available. Seems like the right choice.
So now you kind of have to pick the Rel. We'll see what Barrel's counter pick is going to be. Can't really blind Braum. I feel Braum would go really hard into this draft for Brion, but there's of course also still the chance that it's going to be Poppy in the support role, but no, it's going to be Poppy jungle as we thought. Rel for Palu, and then yeah, I think the Braum also makes sense on the flip side here. Brion is pretty short range outside of the Azir.
Or Maokai.
I do love Maokai with MF. Like, that to me does make a lot of sense. Barrel is one of the few players that has been playing this Maokai pretty consistently. And I'm kind of wondering if you can stop... I'm not actually sure if you can stop the crash down before it comes down with your W.
Maybe with your Q, but not your W.
Not W, if you root her.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see.
I think it continues,
I mean, it definitely,
right?
well, I assume so. Definitely can with the
Yeah.
Q as you highlight. Same reason why the Alistair is good into the rel. I guess we're going to keep the lookout on that. But I think the Maokai is great. More point and click CC. This comp is very, very straightforward for DK. I do like the OK Bro comp a lot more. I think they have more laning pressure. Top lane is a bit of a problem. That one is not going to be manageable. But the rest of the lanes, I don't think are looking too rough. We just need to see them not fall too far behind, because that mid-game team fight, it gave hope. And they got to cash in on that, fellas. They can't just give hope and not get a win. Well, it was 6 games.
They can't do that. He's saying he would give his left eye? It seems like he got hurt playing soccer. Sorry, football. You're Europeans.
That's fine.
If I were with Wolf, I wouldn't feel bad. I don't feel bad, actually. So now, looking at this composition, as you mentioned, Mbessa, really the only issue for them, can Morgan get through the lane against the Renekton? The Toy Necton, the Renekton Toy. We'll see how that does go, as it looks like we are ready for game number 2. Bro up against DK.
협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, here we go. Game number 2. And DK have already proven that they're the better team, but also they're not necessarily not going to int at certain different times just for fun. Hype is caught here. There's the Q. A lot of damage coming in, but I think he can just fly away. His little copter there.
Yeah, the unseen barrel is the deadliest, and he did walk all the way around. Didn't actually drop any vision, though. I imagine that he is going to do so right now. And what DK want is to track Humbug so that Shiu can dunk on this lane. That's basically it. I think that's the biggest reason as to why you want to keep very close track of this Poppy. Poppy does go really hard into the, particularly the top side 2v2. Right, I think starting at level 6, that is actually something that Shiu and Lucid are going to have to be respectful of. But early on, keeping track of Humbug, making sure that Shiu just gets to pummel this lane as much as possible is going to be a big prio. As aiming on the MF has actually had a very consistent performance on this pick thus far. As Barrel goes for a 2-man Q, we'll hit that. And the prio has been secured here for DK. To the surprise, I think, of no one. MF in particular, able to really exert a lot of pressure. So Barrel just heals with the auto and dips.
Yeah. He's feeling pretty good about that Maokai. I think it's an excellent choice in this situation. Aiming on the MF, looking to bully as much as possible. The Corki, definitely a safe pick. Kind of reminds you of Ezreal in terms of the spikes he's going to hit, but a little bit less, you know, ranged farming capability without Mystic Shot. As Hype is struggling to hit all of these, but he does get at least the last 3 to get up to 5 CS. Better than what could have been, as we said in game number 1. But yeah, it's aiming and barrel essentially doing their jobs, and Hype and Palu struggling to farm there. So you've got Prio for DK in the bottom lane. You've got Prio for DK in the top lane. And Shellmaker in mid against the Azir. It's hard to get Prio against an Azir in any matchup, but he's still going to be very comfortable in this one at least. So we can say this is kind of even. So it's not the same series, but the Prio that Wolf was looking for, DK's got it.
And Shiu, we saw actually getting still not the best of trades. Renekton really is more than I think it was before champion. He's at least a couple of levels. You know, once you start getting 2-3 points in Q, I think that's when he becomes more and more oppressive. And as soon as you hit level 6, from like 6 to 12, I think he is very hard to match reliably. So we'll see if Shiu gets to build his lead at that point. We also do have, as expected, both junglers pathing towards the top side of the map. Looks like Lucid was able to pick up that crab. Could look for a double crab here. We'll see if Aiming and Barrel, who will have it let the lane push into them a little bit, are able to shove this out. But with mid lane Prio the way it is, I think Lucid is just going to get the double crab here.
And Hambox is kind of following him around. Yeah, Lucid has Smite, so... he kind of just, you know, he went up to the top crab. He's like, oh, that's gone. Let me follow him to the bottom. Okay, that one's also gone. And then he backs even later than Lucid. Well, he was going to, but now he's just going to continue his farm as he goes down to his Krugs.
Lucid has already had a base. See if they want to turn this into pressure on an objective. We do have the dragon coming up early. Not the craziest dragon damage, but Sin does obviously have a good amount of sustain. As thus far, laning lead mostly in bot lane, as is to be expected. Talia early, really not nearly as threatening as she once was in Renekton, as we mentioned. I think Liddy is going to be looking to push his lead after the first base, not necessarily the first couple of levels.
Feels like, oh, we got a big trade up on the top side. Morgan dashed back into Xiu, who did want to punish, but...
Yeah, there's the 3 points in Q,
yeah,
as mentioned.
He wants a juicy one.
He's looking for it.
Fortunately, we already did have the Nefiri hot dog skin.
That whole range of skins has been great. But Pingu Garen, best one.
Yeah, and it's hard to beat that.
I don't think you can. I actually don't think it can be done, because it breaks all rules, right,
Yeah.
of what skins normally are like.
Yeah, it's more of a costume than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're moving into new...
I thought you were going to say it's more of a concept than anything. Like, yeah, let's
Yeah.
go off the rails. What
we did that
concept,
enough
Val?
in the first series.
Yeah.
Not the literary themes again, please. We'd really have to invite Wolf up for a TriCast if we really got into it.
Yeah, you're not a big literature guy.
No. We need someone else who knows what they're talking about.
Well, I mean, it's also interesting to just talk about your experience with it. You know, you don't need to be knowledgeable about something to talk about it.
True. You immediately get judged. It's the internet.
Who cares?
What do you mean, who cares? Okay, that's a flash shot in from Hambach.
Showmaker doesn't care. Just flashes, walks it off.
Yeah, he's a world champion.
Yeah.
He's allowed to do whatever he wants. And people are still going to judge him. As they should. They're going to have even higher expectations because of his achievements.
I think knowing Showmaker, he's the one that puts the most pressure on himself.
Yeah.
Now, if you hear him talking interviews,
Well said, well said.
which is why it's fun that he clearly has been enjoying himself. I think particularly in last year, but even this year, trying out a bunch of weird champions. As the gold lead slowly starting to get bigger, which again, as expected, is actually Morgan getting a level lead onto Xiu here. Xiu should level up off of that next minion, but Morgan sustaining nicely. Does have still 2 cookies in his inventory as well.
Yeah. He's doing a good job. He's keeping up with Xiu for now. There hasn't been really any jungle attention to that lane. It's just been a straight up 1v1.
I think Xiu's gonna be up about a wave and a half when this comes through.
Barrel was looking for it there. Bit of a slow on a hype as now they're going to try to pull the trigger here on Apollo as the crash down does.
There's a confirmation.
Yeah.
So it is just Q. It's Apollo just walks it off, and Aiming still able to get the prio as Conqueror fully stacked, but they don't know where Poppy is, I'm pretty sure. So we do see Xiu maintain a little bit of distance. Needs to be respectful, obviously, if Morgan is able to hit an ult. They can just slam him into the wall, go for the CC chain, but Lucian's taking the Dragon while all of this is going on, so DK not too bothered. She will be able to actually cancels his back there, so sticks around for now.
Yeah. So DK, they got 2 grubs. They, looking for a little angle here. Showmaker was considering it, but backing off the wave here is Hype and Palu, so not going to commit to that.
Yeah, no 6 on Barrel yet either. Is what, like 2 minions, 3 minions away? That would be
I'm going to say 2.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. I don't play that much duo lane, so I feel like the equation always becomes a bit hard when there's other people.
Yeah. You don't lane much at all. You're a jungle player.
Very true. Well, I play top lane, but I feel like that's like a whole mother thing.
Yeah. That's a different universe. Bro, we're just taking the red buff because...
Are they?
I guess why not?
Did reset.
Yeah, Lucid going to spot them, but can't do much about it.
For a moment there, I was like, what if I just went in? And then and end up going. Shiu does have a cookie still, whereas Morgan did use his. So this Renekton, I think, deceptively tanky. We'll see. I want an all-in. I want to see who wins.
I mean, it's been brewing for quite a while, right? Like, the tension is building.
It, yeah.
Somebody wants to just pull the trigger and all in, but not actually going to happen. And it is just a couple of waves ahead for Shiu.
Yeah.
So for him, it's like, I'm doing my job. I don't have to overextend. That's the LCK way, you know? Get a lead, don't lose it, don't overcommit, don't make a mistake.
He's going to further build his lead, though, as Morgan did not have TP. This wave is crashing. I think most of his minions are going to be gone by the time that Morgan arrives. And there is the backs. You can see as well, bases are basically even here, right? Shiu does get a refillable. And it is just quite closely matched here early on. We're only, I think, a minute and a half of inaction away from us losing the plot. So that's
Last time we did really well, but that was game one. That's
well,
different.
it was game one, and I think it was around the 13-minute.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, we lasted for quite a while that time, but then I remembered it was game one, which is generally, you know.
We do get a loop here as the game and the day goes on.
The day goes on, you know, you hit game 5, game 6. Those
game
are the
9.
best. Game 9. Oh, I never had a game 9, but you and Atlas did.
Yeah, that's not good for you.
Yeah.
It's great for entertainment value, though.
Those were the days. The Challenger casts.
Ooh, Showmaker, what have they just done? A fight brewing here, Valdez.
Uh-oh. A bro and brewing fight. But it's just a smite for now. As Ingo's Barrel is going to engage with a Poppy ult onto Lucid, as now Barrel tries to get away with a flash on in from Hambach, gives first blood to Hype. And now they're in a great spot. They want to get this last grub. They don't want to give 4 over to DK. Are they going to be able to secure it, though, is the question. No smite available here for Hambach, and the ult comes in from the MF. So now we're going to turn on to Lucid, actually, as the sweep comes in. Catches 2. In goes Morgan as well. That's a couple now locked down for the bros. They earn their lead once again in this game.
And DK simply underestimating the amount of battle fervor that is there for the bros. Closer goes in with a big sweep. This early game not going the way DK wants, as starts off with Barrel, the engaged Maokai. Unfortunately not working out really nicely timed there by Hambach. Gets the big ultimate, then slams Hambach into the wall, and then here, just take the grub and leave. Could have just taken the grub and leave.
Oh,
Lucid ends up going in, and that ends up baiting the rest of the team in as well. But yeah, the moment you see that MF ult channeled and Shiu is half health and Barrel's dead, and you got the grub,
Yeah.
just leave. You don't have to. But it's DK, so they do. And now, Brion with an honest-to-God gold lead. Can we get a Dion cam up in here? See how he's doing?
I don't want anything else. We just
He's the personification of chat, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know what chat's saying. I don't have it up, but
we know. We don't
probably something like Giga Chad, okay, bro. You know, Lord Morgan.
What's Commander Closer?
What's the Hambach one?
Hero Hambach.
Ah, yes. Well, Lucid's going to try to make up for it.
I think it's Hero Hambach and Headhunter Hype.
Yeah. Palu hit a wall.
I got the flash.
Yeah. That he did, but now the re-engage does come in for the side of DK. Is it going to work out for them? Lucid is in his ult, and Hambach's in a lot of trouble. And the chase is on. Palu and Closer on the run here as Lucid wants to get in, and the very fast, and the flash comes in from Barrel. That should be enough. I was going to say the very fast Taliyah would eventually catch up, but with the flashes, that is Barrel to secure the kill for the team. As now we finally get the all-in the 1v1 in the top lane. Who's going to win this one? I think with the Dominus. So you absolutely thought it was him, and so did Morgan.
Yeah, he also has Eclipse, and Morgan does not. So no shot. Morgan not going to take that fight, as he shouldn't. It doesn't mean that Shield just gets to shove it away and get a back. But we got to get back to that fight, because last time the turn ended up working out. This time around, not so much. Even with the shove not hitting, Palu, just completely whiffs. Lucid didn't have to flash that. The engage didn't
But
work.
he got the flash.
And then here we see the combo, and this is why I did actually kind of... This isn't even that good! Showmaker's barely... Aiming's taking the crab!
Hambach tried to ult a Maokai. That's not going to work.
Nope.
He goes underground. Look, he did it again.
Wait, what
That's what Maokai does.
Sorry, what?
Maokai, he goes underground. That's
Doesn't-
Twisted Advance.
Is that what it is?
Well,
Oh my god!
well,
Because
yeah,
he's a tree,
because
and he goes... oh my... I had no idea. I thought he just turned on
he
target.
becomes one with the earth. I mean,
That's what it...
it becomes. He just becomes like a spot on the ground.
Oh
you know?
my...
He-
No,
he's-
no, no, but like, it makes sense, because he is...
The Maokai model
He's a tree.
disappears.
Yeah, no, he's a tree. So
Yeah.
he just, oh my. This is when, you know the conversation that Captain Flowers and Kobe had about Volibear mauling? And
Yeah.
the mauling is just a slash, not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
bite. And Kobe was like, no. When he's played like, I don't know, like
What do you
500
mean,
games
no?
of Volibear. That's me. I played
Yeah.
so much Maokai.
I don't even know what to say.
He goes underground. 'cause
How
he's a
else would he
tree.
go untargetable?
Well, I thought he's a magic tree. He just turns himself into an
Into just
in an
thin air?
ethereal mass. Yeah.
Now I just want to see Twisted Advance again. I don't even
We
care
got
about the
to
rest,
get to the bottom of
the
this.
rest of this. We got another all in here, and this time Shu's in a bit
Nah,
more trouble.
he has ult.
He has dominance. Who am I kidding?
I think Morgan tried to get him, because if he takes a
Yeah.
tower shot, there might be an angle, but not going to happen. Shojin also done, but I think Eclipse as a one-item power spike is just so bonkers. So much extra both damage and effective health that you get for yourself.
It's a very good bruiser item.
Yeah.
All right, Barrel, you need to Twisted Advance to someone. Yeah, but that's the thing. He goes untargetable, so the ult's not going to work. There he is. See, he went on the
I know, you're right!
He went in. He caught the Poppy as well. That's why he's really good into Poppy as well, by the way. Yeah, well, the ult's not going to connect this time from Hambach, but down will go Barrel as well.
Just stay on the ground.
And Lucid's going in, and the knockback here is fantastic. Hambach just left out to dry. The rest of the team just running away. As the disengage cone does come through, Morgan doesn't want any of that nonsense. Because now DK should be able to take down the Rift Herald.
Barrel sacrifice, not in vain. Ends up being the big difference maker there, I think. Sets up for Lucid. Lucid, nicely done. Actually using both the fact that Sin has so much sustain when he goes back in, as well as the invulnerability in range with the ultimate. But it's the CC chain, to me, that is the biggest. They can't really engage here, even though they do, because of the fact that aiming is so safe throughout all of this. Talia means that they're earlier to the play. They take down Rel. Unfortunately, Palu continues to not have the best of time. And then, okay, so you kill Barrel, but is that really worth your ult closer? No, I don't think it is, because with that ult gone, Showmaker can just throw down his E. And even the fact that aiming whiffs his ult, it doesn't really matter. They've already done the damage that they needed to.
Well, you got another fight. This time, it's not a 1v1. Barrel is here.
That is still Mbessa, so I think they made the right call by not going too crazy.
Yeah, also the Dominus timing.
Yeah.
Still 5 seconds away now.
And
so-
as we know now, even though he goes underground, like Barrel doesn't actually stay there forever, so he can be targeted and just die.
That's true, yeah. Sid Advance doesn't last forever. Learning things here at the LCK. Has feats of strength. Remember at the beginning of the year when we were like, oh man, feats of strength, cool, this is awesome. We got the first blood, you know, we used to talk about it every game, like this is huge, but now we're just like,
I still like it.
They got it.
I think it's a cool system.
I think that concept is good.
Well, they did also, they were way stronger when we,
Yeah.
I think on like the
But now I think they're too weak.
first week of LCK, I think they could be a little bit stronger. Yeah, I
It just
wouldn't
feels
mind
like they're not noticeable.
Yeah.
Like, they get it, and we have our graphic because they're a thing, but it's also
You know what
like,
the problem
okay, they
is?
have it.
It's
so.
the same as Cloud Soul, where I do actually think that they are quite strong, but
Yeah.
it's not flashy.
Yeah,
You know, like when you
it's
have the, what is it, Swift March, the Swifty one, like the amount of movement speed you get is completely crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just movement speed.
Sparrow's going to be
Oh
flying
my
around. So this
God.
is a big flank, and Humbug's in a lot of trouble. He does not have his flash. It's a nice ult, though. Gets himself out of trouble. Unfortunately, Palu had to die for sins, as that is just the end of the Rel once again. And should be the dragon over. It is an Ocean Soul barrel. Gonna dodge a bunch.
So if Maokai can go underground, why doesn't he do it more often? Why does he need to go to
It has a cooldown. Yeah, you can't. Again, it's not infinite, chronically.
TP got cancelled there. Morgan looking for the flank, doesn't find it. That's a big cooldown gone.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting that he didn't see the Renekton there.
Also, did Chiu not want to let that one go off? I feel like the fight was already in such a bad spot, and then Morgan TP's the bot and you just get the free top turret. It's 2020.
Yeah. Well, at least we have a Runasada Khan in this game. Chiu throwing the thumbs up to Morgan. It's like we got Kalist back here at Lal Park. There's a lot more thumbs up per minute in those games, that's for sure. Barrel's hanging around. He's like, yeah, I could help with Morgan, but instead I'm just going to clear vision around the Otacon and get a blood pedal.
Sorry, I'm still shattered about the whole Maokai thing. That's going to take me some time to
You
get
played
over.
a lot of Maokai, too.
So much.
Yeah.
In different roles as well.
Yeah. It's not hard to believe, though, right? Like, it makes sense.
No, that's what makes it annoying. I don't know who on Brion is using the deft ward skin, but good for them. Very cute.
Yeah. It's a good call. Both teams really want this brush.
Yeah, we needed a name because we have Banana Brush. But this one is only there when it's Ocean Soul.
It's just a blob.
Blob Brush?
It doesn't really have...
I like Blob Brush. That works for me.
It doesn't have any shape. It's
There you
just
go.
like
It goes underground. Might be dead.
Yeah. He went too far underground. He went too underground, too far, too much. And then he died. So now, Bro are thinking about this Otacon, but smartly they're not going to throw on the Otacon.
They should. They need another pick. Showmaker now finishing a second item. This Talia does not do damage, but she's very hard to kill. They're going to get a lot going here. Hype is on his way. They're a member up.
Yeah, I mean, the turret goes down, immediately DK are like, well, we can't do much. Lucid, an interesting engaged target as it is Xinjiao. So, yeah, you got his ult. They got his ult out.
Yeah, okay, so the fact that they got aiming ult as well is big. If it's just, I think you'd rather have Rel ult than Zinzao ult. I feel like Rel ult is pretty...
Yes. Also, Hambak flash for that.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. He's enabling Hex Flash.
That's true.
I'm not bothered by that.
No.
As we take a look, and what actually happens here is Barrow goes in, and then I think they very quickly realize that there are more members than just Paulo in the area who was spotted, and then the TP comes in. So, nice collapse there from Brion. The problem is Otacon is so strong that like they want to turn this into an Otacon, but it's just a support, and again, Otacon will kind of pummel them, so not able to turn it into more. And now they need to go for the game-winning fight. Otherwise, DK will, I think, be very favored in about a minute and a half when this dragon spawns. Because I don't want to see what happens when Renekton, Maokai, and Zinzao get Ocean Soul. There are things we are not meant to see. There are things we're not meant to know.
It's not safe for broadcasts, I don't think. It's way too much.
Even Talia, man. Showmaker with this build, like, I like Archangels. I think that's fine, but Roa as well. I know it's the flavor of the month, but especially with Sorkpam boots, you could be doing true damage to people because you're the sole AP source. But he's behind, so I guess he wouldn't have done that much damage.
Well, Bro's saying now is the
starting
time.
it up.
Yeah. And you know what? This worked for DNF, right?
There's a TP, forcing the one out from Shiu as well. Lucid has been on point with his smites. Can Hambak keep him away? I don't know. Barrel's angle there.
Palu coming on in. Showmaker a bit of trouble. He has to flash, and that's just a flash for the ult as away goes the MF. And they're just going to try to turn on Apollo. They're not even going for this one, as they just want to get that those flowers. In goes Lucid onto Closer, but the Hambach block into the wall is huge. Beryl does get the pick, and now Closer's going to go down as well. Siu doing a fantastic job of frontlining. The knockback is big for Showmaker. And Bro, not immune to the Otacon throw either, as Hype is very fed, but soon will be going down to some rocks to the face. Down he goes. And who's faster?
Strutting!
Poppy or the strutting MF as...
Oh?
Okay, the Hex Flash, knocking on the wall.
He's out!
And that's it. Nice by Hambach.
No!
Oh!
Wow! Oh my god, he got knocked over the wall!
He did. Calculated. Actually, though, that was
But
sick.
it's a Leo wall, that's crazy! Doesn't matter, but it's cool!
It was really cool. Great job, Hambach. He wins the Fell for it again. Not that award, but...
That one's reserved for
Yeah, that's
Daniel
for
Ox
Ox.
Harrison.
Yeah.
As we take a look, Showmaker immediately forced to flash Apollo. You need to be a little bit more restrained on these magnet storms. Can't just use it like that there. And then Lucid goes in there, and initially it looks kind of silly. Tries to, I think, set up a pick on Hype, ordered the ward so that he would get the knock-up. But the reality is, DK is already ahead. Aiming is completely untouched in this fight. They don't have the Rel ultimate, and Shio is a level 15 Renekton who just can frontline for days. And now, Cryo for the Dragon, and that Soul there for DK.
I don't know if you saw what Beryl did, but he was very low. He was killing the flowers for the team. And he's like, no, I can rejoin. Instead, he gave Hambach a taxi out of the fight and died.
Yeah.
Instead of just taking the flowers. And here's Hambach's ult thrown on in, and he smited it in midair, I think.
That's actually, that's
Can you
not,
even do that?
that's not fair. He must have done it as he got.
I think you can, though, right? Because it's not a suppression.
That's
It's just
crazy.
airborne. But you just
All right.
go really airborne.
I need you to talk about it. I already talked about Lucid enough as is, man. I can't. I can't, Valdez.
I mean, he's really good at smiting. You can't take that away from him. He's looked a little bit silly on the Shinjao, but he's good on the smites at least. And now they're just doing the Baron. He's got his smite back. Hambach is here, but no ult. And now they got to respect this Rel. In goes the Rel, a big Magnet Storm this time. On top of the Mbessa into the back line. But look at Amy, he's just totally untouched once again. In goes Closer, trying to get on top of Amy, but nobody can kill this AD carry. As Siu full health, able to take it up for the team. And that is an ace. They only have to pay one Showmaker for it.
I take it back, Showmaker. Built, slam dunk. They threw everything into trying to kill him. I want you to... Wait, I want to see this again.
그래. 먹었어.
Yeah, no, that was midair.
Yeah.
그냥
I mean, after he got hit, he just smited, but the timing was perfect.
Well, I actually, like, look how long it takes to kill Showmaker here. They're standing in a good amount of aiming ult. Aiming again, by the way, completely unchecked, as you highlighted during the fight. And this is the type of composition where, like, losing to Leah, it doesn't matter. There's so much consistent damage. And now, Soul's gone. Baron's gone. And I'm worried that we are not getting the 6-game dream, Valdez. As Beryl,
Yeah,
as he does, buys Redemption. I love that.
why not?
I actually think that's a great choice. I think Redemption is super duper good.
Yeah, I mean, the way their engage works, it's very, like, committal,
Can even
right?
use it
So
offensively if you're a Beryl,
Yeah.
which I know he would love.
if they're going all in onto Showmaker, just drop a Redemption right on top of him, and maybe you save him. You probably do. So
And we're gotten to the point in the game where I'm contemplating POM.
he's got the pen in his hand. He's actually thinking about it right now. It's not an easy one. It's not aiming regardless of the boom damage.
No.
line.
I think it's between Beryl and Lucid.
It's probably Beryl then.
Because I don't think it's Showmaker.
I mean, Lucid was good on the Nefiri, but I just think that Beryl's Alistair was really the biggest.
No, yeah, and then in this game,
Yeah.
Beryl was.
I mean, he's had some iffy moments too, though.
Beryl, yeah.
Yeah, in this game.
Well, I mean, yeah, but if this is why I'm costing with you, because if it was Max, you'd be like, no, that's just Beryl. Just put it in.
That's just
put
Beryl.
it in.
You have to do it. I'm going to write it in for you. That's what he would say.
And then he would say, man, that's why I lost my phone. But put it in anyway.
All right, nice try. closer, gonna trade some flashes. Unfortunately, that puts him in a very precarious situation, and he's now dead. But it was a good effort. I admire his
nice try.
his feistiness. But yeah, you gotta send something, you gotta try it, but unfortunately Showmaker has flash.
We're not getting a redemption moment in this one.
No, we're not.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Nexus is about to fall, Valdez.
It's, you know, you gotta go back to the old classic. It's broken, you know. And DK, they did a great job. Good stuff today, you know, not too many moments, not too many happy gaming moments. They kept it together, and that's a nice little engage from the engaged Maokai. As Beryl is going to drop the redemption, keeps himself alive with that redemption. As, yes, DK just with the finishing touches going to take everybody down except Hambach, who does live on his Poppy, and that'll be the 2-0 from DK tonight.
Game number 1, bit of ups and downs. Game number 2, none of that. It was just up for DK. As I'm gonna go for my vote. You know what?
Yeah.
I think it's very close between the two.
Well, the thing is, I think they both had excellent game 1s, and then were a bit iffy in game 2. The both of them.
Yeah, Lucid had that weird engage.
Beryl's game 1, I think, was better, even though Lucid was more fed. So I probably would have chosen.
I think for game 2, Lucid might end up getting it because of the smites, but this is a win-win for me, right? If Beryl gets it, I'm happy. I think he earned it. If Lucid gets it,
yeah, but then you get called out by Atlas for not being a true fan.
Yeah, I can't win. If I vote for Lucid and he wins, then I get yelled at for not voting for Beryl.
True.
So I'm just not going to be bothered. Honestly, I should have voted for Shiwu because I think he, again, has been performing admirably. And DK as a whole looked pretty good. Still some moments that make you wonder, why am I a fan of this team? But I think that just at this point is part of the charm. It's part of the fun. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is a reference to, but it's very intense.
Whoa. He stood very still. That was one of the more unique celebrations. What did he mean by that?
I don't know. I don't think we're meant to know. Also, very important.
I think it's better that we
Atlas
don't know.
actually looked up the description of
He did, yeah.
Twisted Advance. Maokai contorts into a mass of moving roots, becoming untargetable and dashing to the target. Upon arrival, he roots the target. And Atlas was of the opinion that that means he isn't underground. But I'd argue it's roots.
Yeah. Because it's roots, he's definitely underground.
But it might be like, he's like both. He's like on the top, like half underground, half above ground, which would make it a very confusing discussion, right? Because you're kind of both.
I think pretty clearly in the game he's underground.
Well, that's my read.
So the fact that he's roots and in the game he's underground, it's pretty safe to say that he's underground roots. We can take a look at these highlights. You know, Bro had that good fight over the second set of grubs, I think it was.
Yeah.
But then some issues arose.
The team fighting just isn't up to par for them, unfortunately. And we're starting to see for Breon very, very consistently that there's a sense of desperation, I think, that seeps into play. I think Paulo is the most obvious example of this, right? Where it's like, okay, we're going in, we're pressing all the buttons.
Yeah.
But you need those resources. Against a team as good as DK, if you use your Magnet Storm on a target that just flashes the wall and then is able to rejoin the fight anyway, you're not going to win. You need that. You need to combo. You need to play cohesively. Much easier said than done. I think DK, with a pretty convincing win here today, had one moment that made you kind of wonder what was going on. But outside of that, looking good.
Well, Showmaker had a lot of fun. He's got a big smile on his face here. Corky has the flash, is what he said. Watch Pharrell. That's their only initiation, as we saw during the game. Making a very good point. Watch Pharrell. Let's go Pharrell. Picks him off. Corky. I rooted him. And there you go. That was it. having a lot of fun were the D plus Kia players. A lot of damage done by the guys on Bro, but damage doesn't win you games. Had to have cleaner team fights, as you were mentioning, Chronicler.
Has to be the big target point for Brion as they will be facing off against DNF next. That match is a very, very important one. Gonna have to see where they can make. I think there were again some glimpses. I think the proactivity of Hambach was something that I did welcome.
Did you say proactivity on purpose? That was so smooth.
Yeah, I was just gonna poke it off, but then you.
Yeah, no, it's just well done, well done.
As we're gonna see, is it gonna be Lucid? Is it gonna be Barrow? Or were we completely off?
It's Barrel.
It's Barrow.
I mean, his Alistar was so great in game one, right? He won a lot of the fights for the team, and it's a classic. It's a classic Barrel pick. And then he goes on the Maokai, which is pretty unique as well. Very good into stuff like the Poppy, like the Rel. I think it was just a great draft selection, and then he played it good enough. You know, there were some iffy moments, but it's Barrel. That's just Barrel. That's just what he does.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm glad Atlas is still here. Orcs wasn't, otherwise we wouldn't have had that many Chemtechs. But
yeah.
What did we learn today? That's what I'm wondering. I think we're learning that DK is still the same.
Our good teams won, and the other teams need improvement. That's what we learned today. Well, guys, I'm going to hand it over to Deer for the translation of the POM interview.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Deer for the POM interview translation, joined by Beryl on the side of D plus Kia, who has taken the sole position of first place in the standings. Congratulations! So Beryl, this is your 300th LCK victory, fourth support to do so. Congratulations! And this is also your first POM. How do you feel? Yeah, ever since we left the player house, I had a good feeling, and I think it reached all the way to Low Park on stage. You know, just from the Kespa Cup finals results, and how close your matches were in the LCK Cup. OK Savings Bank Brion had always shown their power against D plus Kia, so what did you watch out for today? No, lately, with all the different picks that we're seeing due to Fearless Draft, I think we've just been trying to practice as much as possible regarding widening our champion pool, and I think that just does pay off in the end. So can we expect a new pick from you in the future? You know, because of the Fearless Draft, I believe that as long as we can keep seeing best of fives and even through the regular season best of threes, we will be able to see diverse picks. And this was your first Alistar game in the regular season. Do you think Alistar is considered tier 0? No, I don't think Alistar is considered the absolute best, but he definitely is a jack of all trades, but it does have its own counters. And just as the graphic shows, congratulations again, let's give him a round of applause for his achievement. And let's talk about game 2. The enemy, Flex picked Poppy Jungle, and since we haven't seen Poppy Jungle lately, how did you feel? I think due to the latest patch, Poppy is more useful or used in the support. And lately, I believe that she has an increased buff and more damage in the jungle, but I feel like there definitely is a huge difference between playing Poppy Jungle and Poppy support. And I think there are some limitations that you can definitely tell from seeing a Poppy Jungle. And your next opponent is the undefeated Genji. How will you prepare for this match? You know, just from watching Genji play in week 1, as compared to how they did in the LCK Cup, they are looking a lot more dominant. So I think this is something that we really have to prepare well for. And what would you like to say to all your fans out there? I'm really happy that we're able to secure our third consecutive victory, and thank you so much for all your continuous support. And that's the end of the interview with Beryl and Back to the Space. Thank you.